I thought about a couple of strategy and characteristics of a high-performing research environment. I want to just capture, where we've been as an institution. And for a number of years, the University of Johannesburg was, in its first 10 years, it followed an approach that was seeking to enable transformation and excellence, but at the same time, we were also looking at being inclusive. And for many, the aspect of transformation and being inclusive at the same time, some feel that is a contradiction. However, for us, being inclusive has been our segue to excellence. In our first 10 to 12 years, we found ourselves being ranked among all of the key ranking indicators, from the QS ranking to Times Higher Education to Shanghai ranking, or also known as the Academic World University Rankings. And we've done this by the component of inclusivity, but separately, we've also done this because we have taken aspiration to reinvent and to reimagine. A lot that we do at the University of Johannesburg is bold and is different. And we are quite okay with what we do is different and is embedded in deep research integrity. Now, having said that, in 2018, when the new Vice Chancellor came in, we already had our strategy for global excellence and stature defined. This strategy is supported by 6 strategic objectives. 1 is excellence in research and innovation. 2, excellence in teaching and learning. 3, international profile for global excellence and stature. 4, student-friendly learning and living environment. 5, to build a national reputation, national and global reputation. And 6, fitness for global excellence and stature, which entails different aspects of governance, human resources, financial governance, and so on. Now, however, if you think about those strategic objectives and our overarching strategy, strategic goal for global excellence and stature, it is also clear that that is a shared strategic goal for many institutions in South Africa, but also abroad. So the question was, what makes us different, and how do we take and portray that difference in a transdisciplinary sense, such that we can build impact that ultimately serves society? We took on, at that time, a journey for the 4th Industrial Revolution. What that entails is, we said, how do we take the strategic goal and how do we bring about strategic contextualization, which is for a dynamic world where the world of work continues to evolve. This is an image which I picked up from the book. Well, the image is not quite there, but the text brings forward, or finds in its depiction, this graph that I've put down here. What one sees, and by the way, the book is called Thank You for Being Late by Tom Friedman. And this image essentially shows that if the orange chart, the orange graph is what is the trajectory that we were in. It represents that universities, as well as human as people, we continue to adapt, and that adaptation tends to reflect in a university's strategic journey. But something else has been happening on the side, and especially if you look at the period of 2007, when you had the iPhone and Steve Jobs did that wonderful presentation when he brought about the iPhone, and then Facebook and a number of other tools came about, was that technology has been taking a rather accelerated path when it comes to how it augments with our adaptability. Now, if we had plotted technology, then somewhere technology has started to move faster than what human adaptability could achieve. Now, adaptability is also about us contending together in terms of our research, innovation, ideation, to contend our triple challenges of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. Really key, especially the aspect of inequality in the South African society. So what we as a university then said was that, can we try and bring about some leapfrogging here by building that fusion between our adaptability and that of that pace that technology is projecting. And so we got together the catalytic initiative that encompasses the strategy for the fourth industrial revolution. This entails that we have to accelerate the way that we learn. We have to embrace lifelong learning, and at the same time learn how to govern in a more smart way. We believe that this is going to enable us for better social connectedness and and to embed our research much stronger in the context of society. We also felt that technology is not about technology alone, that technology finds itself to attain and help us attain the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations is a set of indicators. There are 17 goals that are projected for the year 2030. It is likely that some of those goals will find its extension in one way or the other beyond 2030. But what I liked about this, and I have a takeaway that comes from a former advisor of the UN Secretary General, Jeffrey Sachs. And Jeffrey Sachs, as advisor, provided these 4 lenses. And I find these 4 lenses quite useful when I think about my own research domain, but also other research domains may find it useful, is these 4 lenses to be used in congruence when we are looking at a particular research direction in the area of techno-economics, geopolitics, earth systems, and social dynamics. If you try and contextualize our space as a university, together with COVID-19 when it came about, you would notice that our geopolitics was deeply affected. The way that we pursued internationalization found some virtualization. On the other hand, technology found itself accelerating, and that actually brought about some of the economic impetus that we've had. On the other hand, those two in combination, especially in a country like ours, where we have deep inequality, found that there was there's more chance for social unrest, and the social dynamics found itself at great disturbance. With all of this being said, we found that there was less traffic on road, and that was terrific for Earth systems. So in the context that we think of, where 4IR overarches sustainable development with these 4 lenses, we actually see a holistic thinking, which is also inclusive of some of the things of plurality of knowledge epistemologies. And a number of you looking at your research areas are actually bringing these different knowledge epistemologies in the way that we shape our thinking. So just some areas which I think are important, and I'm sure that other colleagues will also highlight and some in these in more detail. The first area has to do with the research niche. When we say transdisciplinary engagement for impact, we're often thinking about a very wide set of engagements. But in this width, in this breadth, we're often also thinking about the depth of research. And a number of you that are looking or have been rated by the National Research Foundation, the aspect of that depth is really key. So it's about breadth, and simultaneously it's about depth. So do keep that in mind, that depth is really key. And the strategy that has been built, I have been part of developing the National Research Foundation strategy for 2030. We have taken 4 pillars, which is of transformation, impact, excellence, and sustainability. It's a slightly different order to what you see on the slide, and that's because in my mind, I remember the NRF strategy by TIES, T-I-E-S, representing those 4 elements that I just mentioned. So once again, you can see that's again a congruence of lenses that come about, but they're not a contradiction to the Sustainable Development Goals. One can really see them together. But there, I think, is the aspect of the body of work that is developed, and in that, the depth that is developed. The second component, which I think is really important, is the aspect of team. I like acronyms. For me, team, although it's a noun, it also stands for together, each one achieves more. Uh, Having a research group, some of you have research group, and I always see postgraduate students and postdoctoral fellows as collaborators, but also as they depart from their study engagement, they go into industry, they go into government, some go into academia. How do we actually build those linkages as research fellows, as senior research fellows, such that when these individuals go where they are, their network as an alumni is one that continues to work together with us. I will say for myself that students that I've graduated in the last 2 decades at different levels, right from their bachelor's degree to honors to master's to PhD, even postdoctoral fellows, they have all been part of my network, and I remain in communication with a number of them even today. So I think that aspect of team and building groups is another area. Of course, the university and Professor van Vuren will elaborate that there are many support and funding mechanisms that can help to continue that formulation of the team. And of course, as an institution in the area of 4.0 in this transdisciplinary space, so it's not only about technology, but aspects of ethics, various components that goes with 4IR law, entrepreneurship, netpreneurship, and others. They're all really very key facets of that journey. We have sponsored over 180 students, postgraduate students, through the 4.0 instrument, which forms part of the university's contribution of some 140 million rands when it comes to postgraduate studies on an annual basis. 3 is the aspect of research outputs. Now, here I think it's really key because research outputs are also subsidized, and sometimes in the subsidy is I'm going to use the word and as an easy form of income. We have to be careful that easy form does not displace our quest for quality. And ultimately, our chase is for quality, as quality brings in right partnerships for us in future. And those quality and high quality relationships is what enables our strategy and strategic partners in the long run. So we sometimes find ourselves that a quick chase on an output in an easy avenue does bring us the some income, but in that we have the chance of losing much bigger income that is enabled through strategic partnerships. That takes me to the fourth point, which deals with research networking. In my own area, I have found the IEEE, which is a large professional society with 400,000 people dispersed in 160 countries. And this network is really been a professional home. And I think that all of us in our respective disciplines need to ensure that we also have a professional home outside of what we do within the university environment, so that it enables some component of lateral thinking, which a lot of that comes through navigating through conversation, which incidentally is also one of our values as a university. But it is also brings about connections in unstructured ways, and the unstructured connection components are also very key for us, and they help us. And I've experienced it firsthand, and I know that some of you have very good networks, and I hope that you will continue to leverage those networks to benefit your research, you as an individual, but also us as an institution and as a country. Lastly is the aspect of research reflections and review. If you have a research group, how do you reflect on that research group in terms of its next leg, which may be a research center? It may be that you build a research chair if you especially want to explore disciplinary depth, but you may also do that through a research center as a next step. These are formalized structures of university, and one takes them in step-by-step fashion. But you may find that you want to take a transdisciplinary approach, which then takes you into an institute. And that could be a trajectory of anything between 5 to 15 years. But in that, I would also say that it's really important, at least in my view, that we should not always only work in our own area, but reflect with others in other areas. I'll tell you that some of my very strong areas of my own research contribution and thinking has come about from a space when I've engaged other disciplines. One example is that when I've engaged with people who dealt with home economics and how you kind of package your sandwiches, and that's as easy as it is, that then cultivated a very important thought within the area of integrated circuits, which is my core research specialty. And just as sagging takes place and is not always desired when it comes to sandwiches, sagging also takes place within integrated circuits. And by looking at certain structures in this home economics arena, I found certain solutions on how to prevent that sagging on integrated circuits over a long period of time. And so something very simple can be projected from a cross-disciplinary area, but that wouldn't have been possible if I did not reflect with colleagues who come from disciplines which are sometimes very foreign to my own. And I hope that this group here, which is also coming from different disciplines, I hope that those disciplines will connect with building these new ideas. I also learned from people who do building on how to build pillars, and I took some of those pillars, large pillar structures, into these micro and nano devices. So, and that reflection and review also then helps us in terms of our own journey in future. With those words, I'd like to again say thank you for participating in this program, for bringing together learning from multiple disciplines and helping us to benefit from the research and innovation ideation that you pursue from the humanities, social sciences, to the science, to the natural sciences, to engineering, law, business and economics, art, design and architecture, and bringing that thinking to us in our journey in future. So with those words, I'd like to wish you the best for this leadership program and looking forward to serving and supporting you. Thank you.